What if everything you've been told about aging, staying busy, being productive, always moving, was only half the truth? What if real peace in your later years doesn't come from doing more, but from letting go? And what if the secret to lasting happiness isn't found in striving, but in surrendering to life just as it is? As we grow older, society keeps whispering, or sometimes shouting, that we must stay active, keep working, don't slow down, and never waste time. We're taught to keep pushing forward, to constantly chase goals, to prove our worth through achievement. But Buddhism invites us to consider a different path, a gentler one. What if true joy in our later years comes not from doing more, but from doing less? Yes, less. Less striving, less clinging, less worrying. Buddhism teaches that happiness doesn't arise from accumulating success, possessions, or praise, but from releasing what no longer serves us. It's not about controlling life, but about flowing with it. Not about resistance, but acceptance. And above all, about walking through life with gratitude. In this video, we'll uncover 8 things you should feel completely free to be lazy about as you grow older, not in the sense of carelessness or apathy, but in making wise, mindful choices about where you place your energy. Because the truth is, the more burdens you lay down, the lighter your life becomes. And with that lightness comes a deeper, truer kind of happiness. Let's begin with the first powerful shift. 1. Stop overthinking. What others think of you from childhood, we're conditioned to seek approval. Do they like me? Did I say the right thing? What if they judge me? These questions loop endlessly in our minds. But as you move into the second half of life, one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is this. Stop caring about what others think. Ask yourself honestly, how many dreams have you delayed? How many truths have you swallowed just because you feared judgment? How many times have you worn a mask to fit in when your heart longed to be seen for who you really are? Here's the reality. No matter what you do, someone will always disapprove. Someone will criticize. Someone will misjudge. But their opinions, they have no power unless you hand it to them. Buddhism reminds us that clinging to the thoughts of others is like chasing the wind. It's exhausting, futile. What others think of you is not your responsibility. Their views are filtered through their own fears, their own struggles, their own biases, not your truth. If someone sees you through the lens of their pain, why should you let that shape your sense of self? The Buddha once said, "Let go of attachment to approval and disapproval. Walk your path with confidence and peace." What a liberating thought. Seeking validation is a trap, a cage built from invisible bars, and yet the door is wide open. The moment you stop needing others to approve of you, you step into freedom. Imagine the relief. No more overanalyzing conversations, no more second-guessing your every word, no more betraying your joy just to please others. Instead, you begin to live authentically, speaking your truth, acting with clarity, and honoring what feels right to you. This is the beginning of a beautiful transformation. And it leads us naturally into the next realization, one just as freeing, just as profound. Having freed yourself from the burden of needing others' approval, you now begin to live life on your own terms. You listen to your heart. You make choices that feel true to you. And more importantly, you begin to surround yourself with people who see you, not for who they want you to be, but for who you truly are. And here's something beautiful to remember. Those who truly matter will never ask you to be anyone but yourself. The people who love you deeply the ones who respect your spirit. They don't need you to shrink or change or perform. They aren't interested in some ideal version of you. They love you for your quirks, your essence, your journey. They see your soul and say, yes, just as you are enough. And the others, the critics, the ones who judge, the ones who gossip behind your back, they were never meant to stay on your path anyway. Their presence is fleeting, and their opinions hold no real weight unless you give it to them. So let them go. Let yourself go. Free yourself from the invisible chains of worrying about how others perceive you. What truly matters is how you see yourself. Ask the deeper questions. Am I proud of who I am becoming? Am I living in alignment with my values? Do I treat myself with patience, with compassion, with love? Because in the end, when the noise of the world fades and you look back at your life, you won't remember the opinions of strangers. You won't care about the fleeting judgments of acquaintances. What will remain are the moments when you lived truthfully, when you honored your soul, when you allowed yourself the quiet joy of simply being you. And the moment you stop overthinking what others think is the moment you begin reclaiming your life. That, my friend, is where real happiness begins. Now let's explore the next release, one that brings even more peace. 2. Stop wasting energy on arguments and drama. There was a time, perhaps, when proving your point felt necessary. You believed that if you could just find the perfect words, the flawless logic, the right tone, then surely others would see things your way. You debated, explained, pleaded, and still felt unheard. But as the years pass, a quiet wisdom settles in. You begin to see arguments for what they truly are: noise, ego battles, a tug of war between unyielding minds. Most people are not listening to understand. They're listening to defend their beliefs, even the ones they haven't examined. And no matter how beautifully reasoned your words may be, no amount of logic or passion can shift a mind that does not want to be moved. So, the wise path? It isn't in fighting harder, it's in stepping back. The Buddha taught that clinging to the desire to change others only leads to suffering. Trying to win an argument often means losing your peace. Ask yourself, if someone is committed to misunderstanding you, who really wins in that exchange? The energy we spend on conflict is energy stolen from serenity. Imagine it like this. Someone throws a stone into a perfectly still lake. Instantly, ripples spread, chaotic, restless, disturbing the calm. But what if the lake didn't react? What if it remained undisturbed, accepting the stone without resistance? The stone would simply sink, forgotten. No chaos, no disturbance. You can be that lake. You don't need to reply to every criticism. You don't have to jump into every debate. You don't need to prove your worth to someone who isn't open to hearing it. Sometimes the most powerful response is stillness, a soft, steady presence that says, I hear you. I understand your perspective. And then, nothing more. True wisdom lies not in being right, but in choosing peace over pride. You've just discovered the quiet power of walking away from needless arguments. And now, let's go one step deeper into the profound wisdom of choosing silence. There is extraordinary strength in stillness. But let's be clear, choosing silence does not mean silencing your truth. It means learning to speak only when your voice serves peace, not ego. Before you engage in conflict, pause and ask yourself, will this conversation bring clarity and connection, or will it only fuel division, misunderstanding, and stress? If the answer leans toward division, Let it go. Your peace is too valuable. Your time too precious. Life is short, and the older we get, the clearer it becomes. Being at peace is far more rewarding than being right. So let them cling to their views. Let them argue with themselves. Let them live inside their illusions if they must. Meanwhile, you can choose serenity. You can sit calmly in the space of not needing to prove anything to anyone anymore. That's the quiet power of wisdom. That's the quiet power of age. So choose silence when it nourishes your soul. Choose stillness over struggle. Choose peace, again and again. And now, another release awaits, one that many of us struggle with for decades. 3. Stop trying to fix everyone's problems. Perhaps you once believed it was your responsibility to hold the world together, to be the one others turn to, the listener, the fixer, the healer. You gave advice, you offered time, you extended yourself again and again, trying to patch the holes in everyone else's lives. You may have spent years, maybe decades, carrying the weight of others on your shoulders, believing that their pain was somehow yours to soothe, their path yours to guide. But at some point, a liberating truth begins to dawn. You are not here to rescue everyone. Every soul has its own journey to walk, its own lessons to face, and its own burdens to carry. Just as a butterfly must struggle to free itself from the cocoon to build the strength it needs to fly, so too must people face their own challenges if they are to grow. When we rush in to fix things, even with the best of intentions, we might unknowingly rob them of the very struggle that would have made them wiser, stronger, more resilient. Buddhism teaches us the importance of non-attachment, the art of loving without clinging, supporting without absorbing, and caring without losing yourself. Picture this. You're standing on the bank of a river. Someone you love is struggling in the current. Your first instinct? Jump in and pull them out. But what if they need to learn to swim? Instead of diving into their suffering, you can offer a branch, a steady word, a loving presence. Then allow them to navigate the waters in their own way. This is not indifference. This is compassionate wisdom. You're not turning your back. You're turning toward reality, recognizing that your job isn't to carry their pain, but to light the path. You can be a warm flame without setting yourself on fire to keep everyone else warm. So take a moment, reflect on the weight you've carried. How much of it was truly yours? And how much did you take on simply because you thought you should? Now imagine setting that weight down, letting it go, breathing lighter. Because now, in this season of your life, your purpose is shifting. It's time to turn inward, to nurture something just as sacred. As you step back from trying to fix everyone's life, you begin to nurture your own peace. And in doing so, something powerful happens. You create space for others to rise on their own. The truth is, the world doesn't need another person to carry its weight. It doesn't need you to be its savior. What the world needs is you, whole, at ease, joyful, grounded in your own well-being. Because when you stop absorbing everyone else's struggles, when you stop trying to fix what isn't yours to fix, you become lighter, freer. And in that freedom, you become an example. You show others, through your presence alone, that it's possible to live with wisdom instead of worry, that it's possible to love deeply without losing yourself, that it's possible to care without carrying the burden. So breathe, let go, offer love with an open hand, not a tight grip. Be present, yes, but do not mistake presence for obligation. Do not let empathy become a trap. Every soul has its own road. every heart its own lessons. Trust this. Trust the journey of others, just as you are learning to trust your own. And in that trust, you'll find something rare, a kind of peace that no one can give you and no one can take away. Let's move now into another layer of freedom, the release of something we all chase far too long. Fourth, stop chasing perfection and let go of regret. Perfection, that shiny, shimmering idea we grow up believing will bring us happiness. If we just work hard enough, clean up every flaw, never make a mistake, then maybe we'll finally feel worthy. But perfection is a mirage. Just when we think we're close, it shifts. Just when we arrive, the target moves. It's exhausting. And in the end, it's empty. When we were younger, we feared failure. We thought making a mistake meant something was wrong with us. We held ourselves to impossible standards, afraid to fall, afraid to be seen as flawed. But over time, wisdom whispers something different. Imperfection is not a defect, it's part of being human. Buddhism reminds us that mistakes are not enemies, they're our teachers. They shape us, they soften us, they give us the kind of insight and humility that success rarely can. Of course, you've made wrong turns. Of course, there are things you would do differently, but ask yourself, what good does regret really do? Regret is like dragging a heavy chain through life. It binds you to a moment that no longer exists. It clouds your present and steals the light from your future. The Buddha taught, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Why? Because this moment, right now, is where your life truly happens. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. Now, so let go of regret, not because your past was perfect, but because carrying it no longer serves you. Every step you've taken, even the messy ones, led you here. And the strength you have today, the perspective you carry, they were earned through the very mistakes you once wished you could erase. Now think about this. If you could go back and undo every misstep, would you still be the person you are right now? Would you carry the same compassion, the same resilience, the same awe for life? Probably not, because our imperfections are what make us human. They make us real. They connect us to one another. They make us lovable, not despite them, but because of them. So rather than regret, choose gratitude. Gratitude for the path, for the lessons, even for the struggles. Accept the past for what it is, not a weight to carry, but a teacher to honor. And from here, we continue into another illusion that keeps us bound. You've just learned the beauty of embracing imperfection and releasing regret. Now it's time to release something else that weighs us down, something we often overlook: things. For so long, we've filled our homes, our closets, our shelves with things. Clothes we no longer wear, gadgets we barely use, decorations gathering dust. We were taught that possessions equal happiness, that the more we have, the more fulfilled we'll be. We worked hard to earn them. We spent years accumulating. But as the seasons of life change, a quiet truth emerges. True happiness doesn't come from what you own. It comes from what you let go. Imagine walking down a long path, carrying a heavy sack full of stuff. With every new item, the load gets heavier. It slows you down. It pulls on your back, drains your energy, and clouds your clarity. Eventually, you realize you're not walking freely anymore. You're carrying a burden that no longer brings joy. Think of a Buddhist monk. He walks the world with almost nothing, just a robe and a bowl. Yet his spirit is light. His heart is unburdened. Why? because he owns nothing that owns him. He is free. No clutter, no emotional baggage, no attachments. The less you carry, the lighter your steps. The less you cling to, the more space you have for joy. Decluttering isn't just about tidying up your home, it's about clearing space in your mind, because every item you hold onto often carries something deeper, a memory, a regret, a version of who you once were. Ask yourself, does this thing still add value to my life? Or am I keeping it out of habit, guilt, or fear? If it no longer serves you, release it, donate it, gift it. Let it go with gratitude. And with every object you release, you reclaim something far more precious: freedom. Because real wealth, it isn't found in what you stack on shelves. It's found in shared laughter over a simple meal. It's in the warmth of the morning sun on your skin. It's in the quiet joy of a peaceful moment, unburdened, uncluttered, alive. When you look back at your life, you won't remember the things you owned. You'll remember the love you gave, the serenity you nurtured, the moments that made your heart pause in awe. And now, there's one more burden that many carry for far too long, one that deserves to be laid down just as gently. You've just let go of the exhausting habit of people-pleasing, and in doing so, reclaimed your energy and your joy. Now, it's time to reclaim something even more subtle, yet just as precious: your pace. 7. Stop rushing through life. Life is not a race. It is not a competition to collect the most trophies, build the biggest house, or check off the longest list of accomplishments. It's not about sprinting from one milestone to the next, always chasing the next success, the next approval, the next fleeting moment of validation. At its core, life is meant to be lived fully, softly, mindfully. And yet, from a young age, we're told otherwise. We're taught that being busy means being valuable, that productivity equals purpose. So we learn to rush, to move quickly, to aim high, to chase after goalposts we barely understand. We tell ourselves, by 30, I should be here. By 40, I must have that. And so we run, faster, harder, rarely stopping to breathe. But what if we've been running toward the wrong thing all along? What if the true magic of life isn't found in speed, but in stillness? Buddhism invites us to live differently, to embrace the art of mindful living, to truly be here, now fully. It teaches us something beautifully simple. When drinking tea, just drink tea. It sounds easy, but how often do we actually do it? How often do we eat while scrolling our phones? Talk while thinking about what to say next? Stare at a sunset, but fail to really see it? The moment you stop rushing is the moment you start experiencing, really experiencing. Imagine walking through a garden. If you rush through, you may reach the end faster, but you'll miss everything that makes it beautiful. The scent of blossoms in the air, the feel of sunlight on your face, the delicate rustle of leaves whispering in the breeze. But if you slow down, really slow down, suddenly the colors become richer, the sounds more profound. You notice the bird perched quietly on a branch, the shimmer of a dew drop resting on a petal, the way the earth smells after the rain. So how do we stop rushing? First, let go of the illusion that time is your enemy. It's not. Time is your companion, always walking with you, not against you. You don't need to control it. You only need to cherish it. Second, practice mindfulness in everyday moments. When you sip your morning coffee, hold the cup in both hands. Feel its warmth. Inhale its aroma. Let the taste linger. When you talk to someone you love, look into their eyes. Listen. not just with your ears, but with your heart. When you walk, feel your feet press against the ground. Notice the breeze against your skin. Observe how life pulses all around you. Third, allow yourself to embrace stillness. You don't always have to be doing. You don't always need to be producing or achieving. Some of the most meaningful moments are quiet and slow. An afternoon lost in a book, watching raindrops slide down a window, lying on the grass, breathing in the scent of the earth. And finally, remind yourself, this moment is enough. You don't need to chase something beyond it. You don't need to hurry toward a future that doesn't yet exist. What you're looking for, peace, joy, connection, has been here all along, waiting for you to slow down enough to notice it. So take that slow walk with no destination in mind. Sip your coffee like it's a sacred ritual. Watch the sunrise not because you should, but because it's a miracle you're lucky enough to witness. Listen to the wind, to bird song, to the quiet laughter of children, to the life you've been too busy to hear. Because in the end, life isn't measured by how fast you moved. It's measured by how deeply you felt. Zen wisdom reminds us again, when drinking tea, just drink tea. Be here, be now. That is where true happiness lives. And from that stillness, we move into one final release, the most subtle, yet perhaps the most liberating of all. After learning to slow down and savor each moment, there's one final habit we must release to truly live in peace, the habit of worrying about the future. 8. Stop worrying about the future. Worry is like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere. It keeps your mind busy, looping through the same thoughts, the same fears, the same what-ifs, yet no matter how much you think, you're not actually moving forward. Instead, you're just wearing yourself out. And as we grow older, worry tends to grow with us. It begins to hover like a shadow just out of sight. We start to ask ourselves those quiet, unsettling questions. Will I get sick? Will I have enough to live on? Will I become a burden to the ones I love? These thoughts don't always shout. They whisper. They arrive in the stillness of night, spiraling through your mind, feeding fear and draining your peace. But Buddhism teaches us a powerful truth. The future is not real. It hasn't happened yet. It's not something you can touch, fix, or predict. The only moment that truly exists is this one, right now. Think of all the challenges you've faced, the heartbreaks, the illnesses, the unexpected turns. You didn't plan for them, but you made it through. You adapted. You grew. You survived. The fact that you are here, breathing, listening, living, is proof that you have the strength to meet whatever lies ahead. Worrying won't change the future. It won't prevent hardship. It won't secure joy. All it does is rob you of the moment you're in. It fills your heart with imaginary problems while real beauty quietly unfolds before your eyes. How much do we miss while lost in worry? The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the laughter of a grandchild echoing in the distance, the richness of a simple meal, the texture, the aroma, the joy of nourishment. These are life's true treasures. Not wealth, not status, not the absence of struggle, but the presence of appreciation, the ability to be here, now. When your mind begins to spiral, stop and ask, is this worry helping me? Is it protecting me? Is it serving my peace? If the answer is no, then let it go. Visualize tying that worry to a leaf. Now, place it gently into a stream. Watch it float away, light, unburdened, no longer holding power over you. There is profound peace in surrendering to the unknown, Life will unfold exactly as it must. Some days will bring laughter, others may bring loss, but none of it can be fully controlled. What you can control is how you meet each day, with openness, with steadiness, with the quiet courage to say, whatever comes, I will meet it with grace. It's often said, worry doesn't take away tomorrow's troubles. It takes away today's peace. And peace, true, grounded, present peace, is far more valuable than the false comfort of control. So let go. Let the future be what it will be. And trust that just as you've always done, you will find a way. Live not in fear, but in presence. Not in anxiety, but in gratitude. Because worrying won't give you more time, but peace will make every moment you do feel beautifully full. And remember this, aging is not a burden. It's a gift. With each passing year, life gives you another chance. Not to accumulate, not to strive, not to impress, but to release. To shed everything that no longer serves your soul. You've spent decades rushing, proving, worrying. Now is the time to choose something different, to choose ease, to choose peace. And as we bring this journey to a close, let's reflect on everything you've let go and everything you've gained. Having released the weight of worry and surrendered to the present moment, now you arrive at the most beautiful truth of all. You are already enough. There is no need to become anything more than who you are right now. You are not behind. You are not lacking. There is nothing more to prove and nothing more to chase. You've already lived. You've already grown. You've already become. We've spent so much of our lives believing that happiness is something to be earned through accomplishments, through possessions, through reaching some perfect version of ourselves in the future. But happiness isn't waiting out there. It's here. It's now. It's in the cool breeze that brushes gently against your face. It's in the unexpected laughter that rises like music from within. It's in those quiet moments of stillness when the world feels soft and your heart feels held. A meaningful life is not measured by how many things you've done. It's measured by how deeply you've loved, by how present you've been, by how willingly you've let go of what no longer serves you. The greatest gift you can give yourself now is peace. Not the kind that comes from having everything figured out, but the kind that blooms when you realize you no longer have to carry the weight of the world. Live simply, live joyfully, live lightly. As the Buddha wisely said, you only lose what you cling to. So loosen your grip. Let go of the fear. Let go of the pressure to be perfect, to be in control. Trust the unfolding of your life. Trust that you are exactly where you are meant to be. And when the final chapters of your story are written, may they not be filled with stress or striving, but with quiet joy, soft laughter, peaceful moments, and a calm, steady knowing that you lived with grace. If this message touched something in you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who may need a gentle reminder today. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Buddhism Seeds for more life lessons inspired. Until next time, may you find peace, joy, and serenity in every breath you take.